Hello everyone, my name is Ema Edosio Deelen and you're hanging out with me on TransPerfect Media inside Nollywood.
Welcome to TransPerfect Media inside Nollywood with me, Claude Mwamba. Today we are going to have a very special person. The only way to describe her is imagine an electron turning around a nucleus. That's the amount of energy she oozes whenever she is. I'm talking about Ema Edosio Deelen. Thank you for accepting to be with us, Ema.
Thank you, Claude. It's a pleasure to be here.
So this amount of energy, and then coupled with your education can you tell me a bit of your background? What led you into movie? Where are you coming from?
So I always like to say that I stumbled into filmmaking. I went to school like every Nigerian child and I studied computer science because it was, prestigious for your child to be in the science class. I studied computer science, and after computer science, I started noticing this era of music videos popping up, and we had the likes of P-Square when it started and Sonny Neji, and I was like, what is this fascinating music video thing on camera? And then I went into a small production company to start learning how to use the camera, and that was where the journey started from.
Beautiful. And so how has it been so far?
Oh, it has been an intensive journey. I think this is my 12th year in the industry, and it has been a journey of growth, learning and unlearning, and a journey filled with excitement. Yeah.
Kasala. Looks like it was an amazing movie, something that, that made a lot of waves and all of that. Can you elaborate more about this movie? So
Kasala is a movie about 4 boys. One of them takes his uncle's car to a party, his precious Kabu Kabu, his rickety car, and he takes it to a party and they wreck it. The story is how they struggle to raise 25,000 naira to fix the car, and it's everything that you can imagine going wrong. For me, I think storytelling is important, and what I want to do as a storyteller is to tell authentic African stories, and stories about, I would normally say to myself that the man pushing his wheelbarrow earning 1,000 naira a day is a hero, and he deserves to be celebrated. So my film celebrates the average Nigerian, tell their story and show them that they're powerful and tell authentic stories, really. Kasala, I like to say, was the first film in my voice. It was me exploring my voice as a filmmaker, and I made this movie that I didn't know what was going to happen to it, and this magic happened. It started traveling all around the world, traveled to 30 international film festivals, won 9 awards, and that's where the magic started. Traveling
around the world, so that brings me to localization, because the film was probably in English, and then it has to get into Spanish and get into South Korean and all of that. So how do you see localization for the international audience?
I like to say to filmmakers that I like to say that my competition is no longer the director next to me. My competition as a director is this young filmmaker making films in Brazil, in Sao Paulo. The world has become global. And in order for your film to have a global reach, it is not an option for your film not to be localized anymore. Your film has to be localized. So it is very important for the filmmaker right now, or a film producer right now, to consider localization to be able to play on that global stage. It's no longer about Nigeria, it's no longer about Africa, unfortunately. It's now about the world. And I say to people that people put on Netflix and they don't say, oh, I want to watch a Kenyan film, I want to watch a Nigerian film. They say, I want to watch a good film. And to be able to play in that space, your film has to appeal, and your film has to not only appeal, your film has to, they have to understand your film, and that's where localization plays.
But I like what you said. I want to watch a good film.
Yes.
What is a good film in your view?
What is a good film in my view? I would put it this way. Everybody in the world, and I'll use an example, has a version of love. My version of love in Africa is the same substance as the version of love in South Korea or India, but there's that substance. how can I present this love to a global audience where it's from a different world, but they understand the substance. So when you can present a film that has these emotions, that has global resonance, where everybody in the world can understand with your Nigerian context as authentic as possible, then I think you have a good film.
So talking about audience and talking about traveling and all of that, what would you consider as challenges, when you want to get your story on the international scene?
I think one of the major challenges is funding for every filmmaker right now. But I think that we're in exciting times where there's the democratization of equipment. My film, Kasala, was shot with a $750 camera, but it's on Netflix with films that have been shot with millions of dollars. Back in the days, I'm sure that the early filmmakers in the 70s, if they had this opportunity that we have, they would have done a lot, but we had that opportunity. So like I say, one of the main challenges is funding for the average Nigerian filmmaker or the average African filmmaker. How do I raise money for this massive vision? But there are ways around it. There are ways around it.
Tell us a bit, how to go around this funding issue in a country like Nigeria.
Okay, I like to use myself as an example. I'm a trained cinematographer. I'm a trained director. I can edit. So for my first film, Kasala, in order to bring that film to life, because you go to people who had done, who you understand the Nollywood landscape, if it's not Wedding Party, which I think Wedding Party is a beautiful film, right? If it's not this kind of films, then you really don't have a chance. Comedy and all of that. Even though Kasala was comedy, but there were no famous faces in the film. Like I couldn't afford it, So you go to them and say, oh, I want to make a film about 4 boys who wreck a car. They're like, 4 boys who wreck a car. Like I said, I like to use myself as an example. Is over the years I had built skills. So for Kasala, I produced, I directed, I shot, and I edited the film. This saved me a whole lot of cost. I still spent some money, but I was able to save so much on this film. So one of the ways I always say to filmmakers, especially female filmmakers, is you have to understand the craft of filmmaking. You have to be so good at it that even though you can't afford the biggest cinematographer in the market, you can hire somebody that you can afford and work with this person to bring your vision to life, to be able to communicate. You have to be able to say, okay, I have this idea, I have 20,000 naira, what can I use, even if it's with my phone, to achieve this film? There are films that have, amazing films that have been shot with a cell phone. So the way to surmount funding is to be able to acquire the skills and be so good at it that you can produce on your own. And as time comes and people get to know you and get to know your craft, you have more investment. So what filmmakers usually think is that, oh, I'm the next best thing to sliced bread. We don't understand that we also run a business. And for an investor to take out money to put, it's his life saving to give you this money, you have to have a track record. And in order to build that track record, you have to first of all invest in yourself. It's just like somebody who is selling shoes says, I make the best shoes, but he has a prototype. And he says, oh, I made 20 shoes and I took it to Obalende market and 20 shoes were bought and I made a profit of 5,000 naira. You can present that to an investor and say, oh yeah, I have a track record. But what filmmakers do is that, oh, I want to make a film. What have you done? Where is your track record? Nothing, but I think I can make a great film. And you expect investors to put that money back down. It's not possible. So one of the ways, and I keep saying that I like to use myself as an example, is that I shot my first film with 4 million naira and it traveled all around the world. And I have a track record. I've built it over time. And what has helped me is the skills that I have learned and being able to acquire equipment that have helped me produce and manage the cost of production.
So one way probably of circumventing some of the issues is AI. AI is penetrating every sector of life. How do you see AI playing? TransPerfect Media, our company, is very strong at artificial intelligence management. How do you see that playing in?
So I'm a big fan of AI. And why do I say that? Being African, not having access to some expensive gadgets and expensive things and not having access to massive budget, AI has helped to to bring my ideas and help to push these ideas forward, help to support the ideas forward. So I think that AI is, I keep saying it, Claude, we're in exciting times. And AI is contributing to helping the average African filmmaker build his craft. Look, imagine if we get to the point that we can tell stories fully with AI. Think of what the Ikorodu boys will be producing that have access to nothing. It levels in some ways the playing field. So my advice to a lot of Africans is not to fight it, but to learn how you can use this to push your craft, to push your art, to push your business forward. It's just like saying, I'm sure when the calculator was coming out, people were saying, "Oh, I would rather use my..."
The computer, when it came out, secretaries, they lost their jobs and all of that.
Exactly, but look at the advancement.
Yeah.
It's time we ride with this advancement and see how it can benefit us, really. So I think that we're in one of the most exciting times for everybody, for TransPerfect Media. Imagine if you had said to the filmmaker in 1950 that one day your film can be dubbed in so many languages that someone in Tokyo or in a village in Rwanda will be able to watch your film in his language. They will tell you it's impossible. So to every young producer, to every young filmmaker out there, to every creator, this is exciting times for all of you and all of us. And I say this because it is an opportunity for your film to go global. You're no longer limited by your country. You're no longer limited by your passport. You're no longer limited by your language. What I would say to people is create, build the skills, and put work out there. One of the main killers of our industry is perfection. Everybody wants it, oh, yeah, it has to be beautiful. Oh, it has to be this. Think of your craft as a business. You grow and you build an audience. And you grow and you get better and you invest in yourself and you build an audience. But now is the time to start creating and putting work out there. There's a global stage, a global audience waiting for you and your work.
So let me take you back to the filmmaking, your craft actually. So what is your most recent project, and how do you see it performing on global platforms like Netflix and Amazon and all of that?
Oh, I'm absolutely excited about this film, and it's called When Nigeria Happened. And the film is about dancers on the streets of Lagos. And his film was shot 90% on the streets of Lagos, and we have music, we have dancers, and it explores how Nigeria kills or supports the creative talent and the youth. So how does it play in the global audience? I think that this film has a universal language. One of the things for me as a filmmaker that I want to do, and I look forward to continue doing, is to capture what Afrobeat has done with the music into films. I always say this, Burna Boy will hold his microphone and sing, I need Igbo and Shayo, and you have like millions of white people singing I need Igbo and Shayo, and they have no clue what they're singing, but he has been able to carry. Exactly. I'm sure people in Kenya sing Ojuelegba and they have no clue, but they love it. So what I want to do is to capture the essence of what does it mean to be Nigerian? Our nuances, our gra-gra. And how do I translate it into a language that the global audience will understand, and they still understand the essence of chasing your dreams and not being able to achieve these dreams with every insurmountable problems that comes at you, that life brings to you. So I think it has a global theme. It's young, there's music, there's beautiful dance, because we partnered with one of the biggest dance companies in Africa, the Q Dance Center. And Kudus, he's a well-traveled, renowned dancer. And I worked with his production company, and the dance is beautiful. And I think that would appeal on the global scale.
That's the end of this interview with Ema Edosio Deelen. I am Claude Mwamba from TransPerfect Media inside Nollywood. See you around.